Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. So today we are going to talk about just one topic, and we are going to talk about Pep Guardiola and his possibility of going back to the Camp Nou. So according to Football España, they have claimed that former Barcelona president Laporta has confirmed that he intends to run in the club's presidential elections next year, which will be in 2021, and wants Manchester City manager Pep Guardiola back as the coach. And so when this came out to the internet and to the world and to the media, and when every Barcelona fan saw this broke the internet, because anything that has to do with Guardiola going to FC Barcelona or anything like Spain related is always going to be very big news, not to just Barcelona fans but to everyone. And this makes everybody excited because right now we are in times of confusion. We don't know where this club is going. We don't know the direction, if they have a direction. We have seen the board let go of many good players, or we have seen La Masia players leaving the club. So at the moment there is no direction, and when we hear Guardiola going back to Barcelona, we can safely say that we might actually go somewhere with this. So since we are talking about Guardiola going to FC Barcelona, let's talk about the three things that we should expect if Guardiola does get appointed as the manager of Barcelona. And I think one of the first things that we should expect from Guardiola would be to work on the Messi dependence at the club. This is something that has been going on over the past 5 to 6 years. We knew that Barcelona were in a state where they highly depend on Lionel Messi, and I believe that Guardiola is going to go to this club and say, this is one of the first things we have to fix. Because at the end of the day, Guardiola is the one that started all of this Messi dependence, and he needs to be the one that needs to finish it and have a graceful ending. And this has to be the top priority if Guardiola does come to this club, because if not, Barcelona is going to be in a very uncomfortable situation and position, and the only man that can get him away from that Messi dependence would be Guardiola. And I'm going to make a very big prediction here about Guardiola. So if Guardiola does get appointed as the manager, I think that he will be able to manage to bring what Messi brought to the club, but into different players. So let me explain. So Guardiola can say, so we're not going to have Messi's dribbling no more? Okay, fine. Let's bring that to Ansu Fati. Ansu Fati looks like he can go past multiple players. He's well composed. He does have the ability and technique to go around many players. And then he can say, okay, we're not going to have the passing of Lionel Messi no more. Let's bring that to De Jong and Arthur. They were here for a reason. They are in the midfield for a reason, and they have the potential to be that filter for the attack. And then Guardiola can say, okay, if we're not going to have Messi's goals, like scoring 91 goals in a year and scoring 50 goals in a season, let's bring all of that into the front three. Let's make the front three the top priority to bring the goals to the club. We're not just going to have the wingers to bring the assist, and we are not just going to rely on just one number 9 to score the goals. Let's make all three our priority to score these goals. And again, the only man that can make all of this happen and transform these players would be Guardiola. Is Guardiola going to be able to manage to bring a player that can bring all of this into one person? It's not going to happen, because Lionel Messi is once in a lifetime player, and Guardiola will need to adapt to that, and that is what I believe is going to happen. Guardiola will bring what Messi brought, but into different players. Now, the second thing that I believe Guardiola could bring to Barcelona if he comes back would be to bring back faith into La Masia. Because if we're talking about bringing faith on the youth, that has been dead ever since Bartomeu took charge of the club. And we can look at the past recent history. Players like Paris, Cucurella, Ricky Puig, Elenia, they all feel some type of resentment over this club. They have all spoken not too good about Barcelona and how they treat the youth players. But with Pep Guardiola coming back to Barcelona, I believe that he's not only going to bring faith into these players, but he is also going to prepare them well and prepare them better once they do head into the first team. Because we have to remember, Pep Guardiola coached Barca B before. He knows what the players need, and if he can work closely with Francisco Pimienta, who recently renewed his contract with Barcelona B, if they can work closely, then I think that he could birth many good players from Barcelona B, because Guardiola knows that it will greatly pay off for him in 1 to 2 years time. We seen what Guardiola did in 2007 and 2008. He gained the experience. He's like, okay, so this is what it's like. This is what I need to bring to the players in order for me to be successful in 2008, 2009, 2010, 2011, and 2012. Now, the last thing that we should expect Pep Guardiola to bring to Barcelona is to bring importance to Ansu Fati and Dembele. And this is a very unpopular opinion, but I believe that this will happen. And the reason why I'm saying this is because not many people are paying attention to Dembele and Ansu Fati. When you hear about Guardiola coming back to Barcelona, you think of Guardiola making another Messi, another Xavi, another Iniesta. But I really do think that Guardiola can birth one of the greatest wingers in our next generation. So let's start with Ansu Fati first, right? Because Ansu Fati is one of the brightest Barca B players since like 2012, and he is the youngest UCL goal scorer. Ever since Ansu Fati stepped on the pitch under Valverde, he has made a great impact, and he was only 16 years old. And we know how Guardiola is. He has great relationships with young players. He knows exactly what to do with them and how to birth them. We have seen Guardiola do that recently with Foden at Manchester City, and Guardiola can do the exact same thing with Ansu Fati. And if Ansu Fati is in Guardiola's hands, I really do believe that we can see a new dominant era at FC Barcelona, and in front of that team will be Ansu Fati if Guardiola gets it right. And this is going to be huge for Ansu Fati and us fans, because currently, right now, we are looking at Barcelona already putting Ansu Fati back into the B team. And then they're going to question themselves, why haven't they seen no academy player star into the first team? And just a quick side note, I really do hope that Ansu Fati gets a even greater role next season in the 2020-2021 season, because as of now, Barcelona intends to put Ansu Fati into the B team and then into the first team. And that is not a way to grow your players. But this is what makes the Guardiola move so exciting, because we know how Guardiola is with the young players. And I really do believe that Ansu Fati will be a big player for us in 2 to 3 years time. And then moving on to Dembele, if we were to give any other coach a chance to coach Barcelona, those other coaches would say, let's get Dembele out of here. He's been here for 4 years and he has done absolutely nothing. But with Guardiola, I know that he's going to come in here and say, look, Barcelona spent big money on Felipe Coutinho. They spent big money on Antoine Griezmann, and they also spent big money on Dembele. So we have to make at least one work for the club. And Guardiola could choose Dembele out of the three, because Dembele is the youngest out of these three players. We have to remember that he is only 22 years old and he still has many years ahead of him, and Guardiola will take note of that. Guardiola is the man to re-engineer the way he will play. And if there's one thing that I believe Guardiola could bring to Dembele, is to bring and put more emphasis on his finishing. Now, this is not all sunshine and rainbows, because there is this big saying that goes by, you should never marry the same person twice. And if Guardiola comes back, he will do just that. And the reason why I'm saying this is because this could potentially become a big problem. If we look at Mourinho, he came in 2004. He won like 6 trophies with Chelsea, came back in 2014. People expect Mourinho to bring the exact same success with Chelsea, but he didn't, and he became a villain. Then if we look at Zidane with Real Madrid, he came in 2015. He won 3 UCLs in a row. Now coming back in the middle of 2019, he hasn't been able to bring Real Madrid to what they once were from 2014 through 2018. And it has not been the same for Zinedine Zidane. Now, could this mean that Guardiola could repeat what those two coaches have done in their history? There is a possibility. There's a possibility that Guardiola could come and resurrect Barcelona, but there's also a possibility that Guardiola might come back to Barcelona and find it very tough to bring back this club. And I'm only saying this to prepare everybody here and every Barcelona fan, because if we all expect Guardiola to come here and be like God for FC Barcelona, our expectations could be put down. And in result, we're going to look at Guardiola and be like, why can't you bring the exact same results you did in 2008 through 2012? And we're going to end up not hating Guardiola, but just wishing that he could have done better. And the second thing that I do want to point out about this is that I know that Laporta was thinking this before he was going to make this big statement. He told himself, he said, look, if I'm going to make a big statement on me trying to run for president in 2021, I might as well make it a big statement and attach attach Guardiola in this sentence. And I believe that is what Laporta did. Because if you attach Guardiola to any presidential campaign, many socios will be in favor of that idea. And if you want to win a campaign, you put Pep Guardiola's name in the campaign. And so Laporta does want to come into this campaign very strong. He does not want to make it easy for Victor Font. But the one thing that I could tell you guys is this: the conversation of Laporta and Guardiola going to FC Barcelona does not exist. Because if we look at the statement that Laporta did say to the public, he said that he would like Guardiola to come back, not he is working for Guardiola to come back. Those are two very different things. What Laporta is saying here is that this is just a desire of him. He does not know if Guardiola does want to come back to Barcelona. There is no negotiations. There hasn't been that one conversation of Guardiola speaking with Laporta. But look, the stars are aligning. Guardiola's contract does end in 2021. The elections are in 2021. And if there was one man that could bring Guardiola back to Barcelona, it would be Laporta. But at the moment, the conversation does not exist. And right now, Xavi Hernandez still has the higher possibility of taking charge in 2021. And so that is it for today's Barcelona daily news. This is some very exciting news, but there is a lot of things that we do need to think about. It's not all going to be sunshine and rainbows. We don't know if Guardiola is going to come to FC Barcelona. It's not 100% certain, but there is many possibilities, many great ideas. And I did just point out the 3 things that we should expect Guardiola to bring to the club. And let me know if you guys do agree with those things. Do you believe that Guardiola can resurrect Dembele's career? And do you believe that Guardiola can bring that dominant era back to the club? So thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.